You all saw a little blurb which made a promise of what you'll get from this workshop. So I'd like to understand what are your expectations from the workshop. We'll listen to 3 of them and then move into the workshop. This is like a little ritual I do in all my workshops. So who wants to go in? Oh. Yeah, would someone like to go in?
Hello, hi.
Yeah, hi, Ms. Ramadevi. Please go ahead.
Myself Ramadevi. I am working as a freelancer. I am interested to learn about content writing skills. I want to improve that. My friend shared me the link of this. When we discussing, she told if you are interested, you can attend this. I thought I make it a try. I want to learn content writing.
Okay.
I am a beginner. I don't know anything, but I want to know about this.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for taking the lead. Anyone else wants to share? Why are you here? And all of you, please keep your videos on. We have a strict video on policy for this workshop. We have a strict video on policy for this workshop. I request everyone, please keep your video on. Yeah, Palash, please go ahead.
So for me, content writing, like some people think that content writing is mostly for marketing purposes or branding purposes, but content writing can also be to document the product you're working on. So I'm thinking I'm coming here for context of that. I want to improve my documentation skills of things I'm working on.
Okay. But Palash, perhaps that may not help you because in this workshop we are purely looking at copywriting and content writing from a business perspective, content writing more in terms of achieving your business outcomes, right? We're not going to be talking too much of documentation today. We'll be talking more in terms of how you can do copywriting and how you can do content writing with a strong business intent. Business intent as in it could be to create a brand image or to reinforce a brand image or to drive sales. We're talking of content writing with a strong business agenda.
Sure.
So how do you achieve that is what we'll be covering today.
Yeah, but I can still pick up good practices, right?
Yeah, sure. So there'll be a heavy influence of psychology in today's workshop. I request all of you to please keep your video on. We have a strict video on policy in this workshop. Participants whose videos are off would be removed from the meet. Yeah. Anyone else? What are you expecting from this workshop? I usually start my workshop with this ritual of asking few of my participants to share what you're expecting from this workshop. So we're all on the same page. Ramadevi and Palash had already shared their expectations. Anyone else wants to go in?
Yes, Tarun is okay. Yep.
So can I?
Yeah, Manu.
Yeah, please.
Okay, so I'd like to know what works and what does not.
Okay, that's $1 million question. Let's hope we have something for that here today. Yeah. Thank you, Manu. Who's going next?
So,
Yeah, Soumya, please go ahead.
so this is my first time I ever do any kind of workshop. So I'm here to learn.
Okay. Thank you, Soumya. Hope you get to learn something nice today.
Yes, thank you, sir, for this opportunity.
Okay. Anyone else wants to go in? What are your expectations from this workshop?
I would like to, what I expect is most of us don't know what content writing is. So I think content writing is the most generalized word and most of us don't know what exactly it goes for. So I would like to know why, where, and how it is used.
Okay. So before I go into the workshop, I just want to make a couple of remarks to set a strong context for the subject matter that will follow. I'll just make a couple of remarks to create a strong context for the theories and concepts that will be presented today, so that you all understand why these theories are important. Now, if you look at it, if you're working for, if you're heading a brand like Swiggy or Zomato, copywriters are super important in your business, right? So one day, Swiggy sends me a notification, Tarun chai bana de. There's a notification. You tap that notification, he shows you places where you can order chai, right? So good copywriters can drive a lot of sales, right? And today, good copywriters make a lot of money. So if you think of it from a brand perspective, a good writer does the job of 1,000 sales employees, right? In a way, a good copywriter is also giving dialogues for the sales employees to talk. So how do we write such very compelling lines? How do we write such very compelling lines which can meet the business agenda? There's a difference between poetry and business communication. In poetry, you write what you feel like writing. You present some really interesting. You take your readers through interesting experiences. But in business communication, there's a certain agenda that your brand has, or there's a certain agenda that your organization has, and the content has to meet that agenda. So, yeah. So, sorry, Adarsh, were you speaking something? No. Were you speaking something, Adarsh? I got something from your mic. No.
No, sir. No, sir. No.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So now let me start off by introducing you to a three-step framework, which I strongly believe in. The three-step framework is, no, let me do one thing. Let me talk of what happens when you don't use the three-step framework, and then we go to the three-step framework. Let us say somebody writes a very good story. It's very gripping. There's a lot of suspense. You enjoy that story. And at the end of the story, you've learned nothing new out of it. How do you feel at the end of the story? You don't feel like you've gained anything at the end of the story, but it was so gripping. It was narrated so well that you heard the whole story. How do you feel at the end of the story? Yeah, Nishant.
I will feel kind of disappointed since I wanted to learn something from that story because it was fascinating enough for me.
Okay. So you don't watch Salman Khan movies?
No, actually, I don't watch any type of Indian movie.
Okay. Yeah, Deepthi.
You didn't derive any value from it.
Okay. Now, let's ask a very different question. Let us say you're writing content for a fashion brand, right? And that brand is known for a very different style of clothing, right? And you're writing content, your audience hook to your story, they hear your entire story, but by the end of the story, you've not told them about why your brand is better than the other brands. Does it meet your objectives? Or let us say you're writing content for a restaurant, and let's say this restaurant serves authentic Hyderabadi biryani. You write a very good story that Nishant loves good food. He's always on the lookout for good food and all of that. And then you talk you talk about why it's important to have a good restaurant which serves good food and all of that. And then you're like, Nishant went to this restaurant and he had authentic Hyderabadi biryani. He felt very happy. He went back home. That's it. The story was very gripping. People paid attention to the story. But at the end of the story, what is authentic about that biryani was not conveyed. Or why Nishant enjoyed that biryani was not conveyed. Does this meet the business agenda? Why not?
Because I would like to answer, because the people who are reading the story wanted to know about the description or what the feelings or what they were giving us to the audience.
Well, people might actually be happy, but your client will not be happy or your company will not be happy because you were not able to, create that brand association, right? I mean, that this brand stands for authentic Hyderabadi cuisine. So yeah. I've seen that a lot of young writers, land into this trap. Either they end up describing a lot of jargon, or they end up writing a very good story with no brand essence in it. Why does this happen? Because it's kind of like juggling, right? You're balancing two things. It's like you're juggling two things at once. On one hand, you're trying to make that story very interesting so that your readers are hooked. On the other hand, you're trying to convey some very important information or some very important ideas about your brand. So would it make sense to go in a step-by-step approach? Or would you want to do both at once?
Step-by-step approach. I would prefer step-by-step approach.
You can always do both at once you have enough practice. Once you go to Rajnikant level of execution, you can always do both at once. But for starters, you can do one at a time, right? So now, what do you think is more fundamental? The value proposition of what the brand offers to you, or the story, which is more fundamental?
Value. The value of the value which the company.
Yeah, because once you understand the value prop, then you can come up with a story which explains that value. I'll give you an example. I met one entrepreneur in an event last Sunday, and he was trying to make a pitch. He was saying, we are your cybersecurity partners. We will help you in making sure that your platform is very safe, and all of that. He was trying to tell a lot of things, but founders were not able to understand. Then I told him, I'll tell you same story in a different way. I would say, hi, my name is Ravi. I feel very inspired to be here among a lot of entrepreneurs like you. It's so exciting to see the number of problems you guys are solving. And this only talks of how the world of SaaS is changing the world today. That you all are using the medium of SaaS to solve little problems around all of us. We guys also solve a problem through SaaS, but our problem solving is more around making sure that you are successful. Because we believe that if you guys are successful and if your technology is more successful, the world will change. People will be able to eat good food. People will be able to travel safely. So you all are solving very exciting problems, and we are trying to make sure that while you guys solve these problems, that your data is kept very safe so that the hackers are kept at a distance. So we have a virtual CSO bot with the help of which you guys can, keep your solution safe. And in case you're, talking to investors or you're talking to high value customers and they have some reservations around your data safety, we guys will give you that report, which you can present to your investors and clients and make sure your deals never stop. In a nutshell, we are here to make sure your business and your show keeps running while we keep your technology safe. You understand what I'm doing through my story, right? Now, why do you think in the beginning I'm talking of it's so inspiring to be among SaaS founders like you? You guys are solving a lot of problems. Why is that coming in the beginning in the story? Anyone? Why do you think that's coming in the beginning of the story?
To avoid major problems which occur in the long run.
What major problems?
Like you are not able to deliver the correct content to the certain people or the audience which you're targeting to.
No, I'm not quite sure that that's the reason. Yeah,
I think it's giving more importance to the customer, like the client, before delivering your product.
Okay. Thanks, Abhinav. Yeah, Hanuman.
So when I was listening to you, I was thinking that this person knows about me. This person knows me very well. So let's listen him.
Exactly. Familiarity, right? When you empathize with your reader, see, this pitch I'm making to an audience of SaaS founders who are my customers. So when I say, we guys are here to make all the SaaS founders win, you're empathizing with your customers. So they're, as Hanuman rightly pointed, they're like, okay, this guy knows us. Let's listen. So initially in your story, you try to empathize, you try to hook your readers in. Then what I'm doing is I'm trying to bring some characters to convey the same value. The character is you, and the plot is you as a SaaS founder winning. And how does this person, and this person is going through a conflict. What is that conflict? Some investor wants to check whether your data is safe or not. Or some high value customer wants to check whether your platform is safe or not before signing a deal with you. We are saying you will win that battle because we will keep your things safe. You just focus on growing your business. Now that's the story. When you know very clearly what your value proposition is, when you know what to tell, what is the value here? The value is to keep your data safe. Why is it important to keep your data safe? Because if your data is not safe, investors may not trust you and high value customers may not trust you. So the value which we are delivering is, we will make sure that your investors and high value customers trust you. And that way your business will always keep growing. So this is the value we offer to you. So now when you make a startup pitch or a product pitch, you can initially define what is the value proposition. And after defining the value proposition, I move into creating a story there. And how do you create a story? Create 1 or 2 characters, create a conflict, that character has to go through some challenge and that character finally wins. And you show how that character has won using your product. The story is focused around the character. The story is not focused around the product. Now, would anyone want to think, why is the story focused around the character and not the product?
The customer will be off of the person.
Right. The customer relates with the protagonist. When you watch a movie as well, you feel you are the protagonist of the movie and watch it, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and again, when I write my stories, I try to use a lot of second person. I try to use a lot of you. Would you do this? You see, when I'm talking as well, I use a lot of you. When I use you, you are involved in the story. Okay. So the first concept I want to introduce to all of you is value proposition comes first. And second step is the actual story. And the third step would be the channel specific expression. Now, let me ask you a question. The kind of content you write on Twitter, the kind of content you write on a blog, the kind of content which you write on LinkedIn, would they be the same? So Twitter limits the amount of content you can post, right? And the behavior of users on Twitter is very different from the behavior of users on LinkedIn. The behavior of users on Instagram is very different. On email, again, the behavior of users is different. So the way you would put your hook, but again, I would like to introduce you to a concept which is universal, which applies everywhere, irrespective of your medium. A concept which applies everywhere, irrespective of your medium. If you're delivering content to somebody who's not expecting your content, if you're delivering content to somebody who's not expecting your content, for example, you're sending an email, the person is not expecting your email. This format applies there. But let us say you called someone and that person is badly waiting for your email. Let's say that person is waiting for a joining letter in a company where the person is hired. This format may not apply there because that person is badly waiting for the content. But if this is unexpected content, then this format might apply. So if Swanand is not expecting this content, I need to get Swanand's attention, right? I don't have it already. So I start with a hook. For example, this workshop, you were not expecting a workshop at 5 o'clock today. So I need your attention. So what did I use to get your attention?
Keeping workshop at 5.
No. I mean, there are hundreds of workshops going on around the world today. Why would you care?
Unpredictability.
Sorry?
Unpredictability.
Connecting to the selection process.
No, I'm okay.
Like I got expectation. First line.
Yeah, what was the first line?
Writing $1 million content.
$1 million content.
Yeah, that was the hook, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And for startup founders, my hook was content-led growth. Growth is the aspirational thing, right? As a startup founder, I would like to grow my business. And then if you look at my first paragraph, it's talking of why startups fail. I'm talking about the problem which a founder faces, that you're not able to tell the story of your business clearly. Now, what happens when I describe the problem clearly? I got the attention through a hook. Now I've also stated a problem. Now, what happens to the startup founder's attention and the mind? What happens then?
He wants to know the solution.
Correct. Now, the complete attention, right? Earlier, while reading it, the startup founder is in two minds. Chalo, I need to make that payment right now. I need to check which vendor. I need to go meet, do that meeting tomorrow. The mind is processing 4 or 5 different things. But once the hook does its job, and once the founder reads the 3 sentences, the founder is my target audience for this workshop. So once the person reads the 3 sentences, what happens to the attention? Undivided attention, right? So do you directly go into your main content which you want to communicate? Do you or you don't? Anyone?
We actually don't. We need to gather around their attraction to the main thing, I think.
Rather than attraction, I would say attention. Attention need not be attractive. I could say, why did Kattappa kill Bahubali? I'm assuming that's not attractive. But it's like, I want to know, wait, what's going on? Now, the moment I go and say $1 million content, somebody's like, wait, what is this? And then I say, okay, most businesses fail due to this. Yeah, exactly. They fail due to this. So then I want to know, okay, what do you have? So I use a hook. I try to get the attention. Then I write a few sentences where I state the problem. So people are in the zone. They understand, okay, what's going on. Then I deliver my solution, which is the value. So this hook, one framework which I like using across my content is problem, solution, impact. I use a hook, then I state a problem, I give a solution, I talk of what impact can be achieved, right? By using this solution, how will your life change? And then I conclude with a call to action. If you want to attend or click this link or join us or think about it or whatever the call to action is. So irrespective of which medium you're communicating with, the hook and the call to action become important. Now, I'd like to ask you all a question. What if you write a content piece with no call to action at the end? Like, please like the post or please try to implement this tomorrow or something like that, right? What happens if your content piece doesn't have a call to action?
We might not be able to measure the value of our own content.
Okay, yeah. If you use something like this button or leave a comment or something like that, you can measure how many people acted. So through that, you can measure how effective your content was. Call to actions can help you measure the efficiency of your content. Apart from that, from a user perspective, what does a user miss out on? Or what does your reader miss out on if a call to action is not defined?
He will miss out how to get in touch with us.
Let's say you don't want the user to get in touch. What is a big question in the user's mind that call to action is not defined?
We will not know the purpose of the content.
No, that is told, no? Problem, solution, impact, everything is told. Pura Ramayana is told.
If there is no call to action, how do I know what am I supposed to do after reading the story?
Exactly. What next is the question. That what next question is unanswered if the call to action is not defined. So the simple psychology of any good content is it starts with a good hook. Then there's the body where you convey the core value of what you're trying to convey. And then it concludes with a call to action. Now, I made this mistake for like good 8 to 9 years of my life, where I would write content pieces and I would not have a call to action. I thought, okay, there's no need of a call to action. I'm just trying to share my views with people. I don't need them to act. The problem is, at the end of my content, people were blank. Okay, what do I do now? Then I started putting call to actions in my article, where I said, please try implementing this tomorrow, and I'm sure you'll see a huge difference in your life. Or you'll definitely see some increase in the traffic of your website if you implement this, and so on. People may not do it, but at least they understand that Tarun gave me some value through this article. Right? If I implement this, I will get this. If I don't do, okay, I'm the loser. I'm the one who didn't do. but at least towards the end, Tarun has told me that if I try this, I will get this. For example, let's say I wrote an article on art of questioning, and I say, please ask at least 3 questions every day, and you can increase the quality of questioning by using the above approaches which was stated in the article. You will see a huge improvement in the quality of your comprehension and thus quality of your work also, if you were to implement this little hack. Just asking 3 questions every day for the next 3 months, you will see a huge difference in your life. I hope that this article was useful, and I hope you will try the art of questioning. Now, when I end the article this way, what happens? Anyone? What happens when I include this call to action and say, please try asking 1 question every day? In my article, if my article is about questioning.
It will create a curiosity in the user's mind.
Okay, anyone else?
It will somewhere be there in the back of the mind, okay, that we have to do, try this.
Okay.
Involvement of the person
Okay.
to ask the questions.
Okay, anyone else?
Sir, I think they would be more engaging with us at that point.
Okay. Let us say I'm writing an article on nutrition, right? I'm talking about a kind of a diet. And I say that this, this prescription might be very simple, but people have seen a huge difference in their fitness levels and in their mental health levels by using this diet. I would, in case you like this idea, I would strongly recommend that you start off tomorrow itself. And I'm sure that you'll see a difference in yourself after a month. Thanks a lot for, reading this article. And I hope that you will implement it tomorrow. And I hope that you'll see a difference in your life a month from today. So what happens when I write this paragraph at the end?
They get influenced.
Okay. What if they don't implement the diet? Do they get the value or do they not get the value? Do they feel they got something at the end of the article?
No. Exactly.
Like I got a suggestion, right? If I try this, I will get this.
Knowledge.
I mean, the recommendation is very clear to me at the end. This person is telling me that if you do this, you will get this done. For example, you came into this workshop. I told a lot of stories. At the end, you're like, sune the 1 ghante, but kya mila? He told a lot of stories, very nice. But wait, what do I do next? There's a blank state, right? But let us say at the end, I tell you that today I told you 6 principles of writing. A, B, C, D, E. These are the principles. F, A, B, C, D, E, F. These are the principles. And if you implement it, you will be able to produce powerful content. You can start implementing it from tomorrow, all these 6 principles, and hopefully your content will get you better results. What happens if I end my workshop like that? You feel like you gained something at the end, right? So this is a very fundamental grammar of content. We start with a hook because people are not expecting your content. One of my mentors who taught me media communication used to tell me one of the worst inventions in 20th century is the TV remote. He used to feel one of the worst inventions in 20th century is the TV remote. He used to say that we as creators have to be very careful with the remote. So even for a few seconds, if that program is not engaging, what will happen?
Switch to next channel.
We will change the channel, sir.
People change the channel, right? So that's the point. Now people are not, and in the 21st century, there's a lot of content. Almost everybody is a YouTube influencer today. Right? Almost everybody is a YouTube influencer today. There's a lot of content. So you've got to get that attention, right? That is why the hook becomes very important. And the call to action again becomes very important. Okay? This is a fundamental grammar which applies in every medium. The hook and call to action. But whether you will be able to convey your core content in the message or not is dependent on the medium. For example, you're sending an SMS. You may only be able to include your hook and call to action. Your core value, you might say that no, click this link to know, because you do not have that much space to include the core value. Do I make sense? Because your format is such that it doesn't give you so much of space. Is it okay to leave out value proposition, or is it okay to leave out hook and call to action?
I think all the things are necessary.
You can't have all three. You have space only for 2 or 3 sentences.
But if you get the hook, then automatically you will get the value
No.
proposition at the end, right?
No, in hook, you're only trying to get the attention. You're not necessarily getting the value. You're not necessarily. This is a big thing to realize, okay? Your hook need not be related to your value proposition. Okay. Let's say there's an entrepreneur who wants some secret for growth. And I want to talk about Gandhian economics. Can my content be related to what the entrepreneur wants? The entrepreneur wants growth recipe, and I want to talk about Gandhian economics. It can be related if I can connect the dots. But when I design my hook will not be about Gandhian economics. My hook could be about, can your brand be as trustworthy as the Tatas? A lot of businesses do not grow because the customers don't trust new brands. It takes a lot of time to get customers' trust. Trust is not cheap. When there's a lot of scam going on, especially after pandemic, when there's a lot of scam going on, customers do not want to trust new brands. Do you want to know how to win your customers' trust? So when I define the problem very clearly, now the customers want to listen to me. Now I will go into Gandhian economics. So your hook need not be related to your topic. You could tell anything, right? For example, my hook could be, do you want to become a billionaire in 10 hours? That's not possible. If somebody told you, that must be a scam. But let me tell you something more realistic which can happen. And this article is about that. People will hate you for content like that, but sometimes you could try that too. All I'm trying to say is your hook need not be connected to your value proposition. Your hook need not be connected to your product. It's all how creative you are. Do I make sense? Your hook need not be connected to your value proposition. What is the function of your hook? The function of your hook is to get you attention. That's it. The object of the hook is to get your reader's attention. But be careful, huh? You get attention due to wrong reasons, wrong expectation. The reader will be very pissed off with you. But it's again about you get the attention. What you do with the attention is important. If you're able to do justice to that attention, the reader is probably happy with you. But if you do not get the attention, your content goes waste, right?
Sir, sorry, Arun. If you give like a negative hook, like you told right now, do you think the customer or the client will trust us?
Yeah, that's tricky, Abhinav. But if you can be funny and if you can cool down the mood, maybe it still work.
Okay.
But it could backfire. It's risky.
Yeah.
But as a creative person, you do take risks, right?
Yeah.
So when you try such risky content, maybe it's a good idea to experiment with a small group, probably a close group which trusts you, see how they react. And only when you're confident, you can expose it to a larger group. But it can be risky. But sometimes such hooks really, really work. See, it's a creative field, right? And in a creative field, there is a risk involved. But there's also a little bit of science in terms of, okay, I want attention. Let me figure out how I get my attention. Then I define my problem, because when you don't explain the problem, the reader doesn't understand why your solution is even needed. In fact, a lot of good entrepreneurs make this mistake, They directly jump to the product or the solution without explaining the problem. Your pitch becomes very interesting and very gripping if you share the problem clearly. If you explain the problem clearly. Okay. Now, I hope I'm clear about the three-step template, right? Step 1, we understand the value proposition, right? How am I making a difference to my How is my product making a difference to the customer's life? I understand the value proposition first. Step 2, what do we do? Anyone? Step 1 was understanding value proposition. What is step 2?
Story.
The storytelling. There you create some character, there's a plot, the character is going through a journey. There's a very interesting plot where the character is going through some journey, right? So that journey is around, by using your product, the character has succeeded, or the character has achieved something, or the character feels safe. What is that journey of the character by using the product? That's the story. So you convert your value proposition into a story. Now, step 3 is channel specific expression. Now, let me ask you a question. If you're a smart content marketer and if you've got a great value prop, you understand your value prop very clearly, and you've got a great story, will you use a different story for all channels, or you'll use the same story across all channels?
Different stories.
When you use the same story, you get the luxury of investing a lot of time in cracking the value prop and the story well. Once you get a very good story, you can always format it differently for different mediums. And there's a concept in marketing. It's called IMC. Does anyone know the full form of IMC? Anyone? IMC, any guesses? What is IMC? Any MBAs here? IMC? Okay, IMC stands for Integrated Marketing Campaign. Integrated Marketing Campaign. So across different channels, you tell the same, message. So the message gets imprinted in your audience mind. Across different channels, you tell the same message. Okay. So my first concept of today was, there's a 3-step approach. We start with value proposition, then we go into story, and the last step we go into
Channel
specific expression. Right. Now my second concept of today was, there's a format to most content. The format is the content starts with a hook and concludes with a
Action. Call to action.
call to action. And in between you have the value, and that value has a 3-step anatomy, right? What's the 3-step anatomy we discussed? This is one way, okay?
Problem, solution, impact.
Problem, solution, impact. So you can think of one structure. When you have a structure, it becomes easier for you to, tell your content. Now, does it mean you have to be bounded by structures? No. But until you get confidence, until you understand how to tell content clearly, you may want to take support of structures. It's like dance, right? You initially do 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. But once you become Michael Jackson, there's no 1, 2, 3, 4. It's just in a rhythm, it happens. So until you get that rhythm, frameworks become important. But once you have the rhythm, you don't need any framework. You're an artist. Right? So the 2 concepts of the day. Then I have 2 more concepts to complete in the next 10 minutes. So the third concept is brand positioning. Now, what is brand positioning? Okay. Let me ask you this question. What is the first brand of biscuits that comes to your mind? Anyone?
Parle-G.
Okay.
Britannia.
Okay. Oh, no Oreo. Okay.
Marigold.
Britannia.
Okay. Okay. I'm used to doing a lot of workshops for school kids. I was in the school education space for 12 years. So when you ask there, the Oreo comes up first.
Oreo, yeah.
Yeah. But I was expecting that you guys were school students when I started my career. So I was hoping, okay, but as people age, preferences change. Okay. How many biscuit brands can you recall in the next 30 seconds? Can you count? How many biscuit brands can you recall? Okay, let's do it collectively. All of you, can you shoot brands? Let's count. Mohit on the timer for 30 seconds, please. Mohit, timer for 30 seconds. Okay, can you shoot Parle-G?
Hide and seek.
Britannia, hide and seek, Marigold,
Oreo,
Oreo,
Milk
Fantasy,
Bourbon,
Jim Jam,
Tiger, okay.
Maska Jaska, 50-50.
Good day.
You got
Jim Jam.
Mom's Magic,
Mom's Magic, okay.
Jim Jam.
Little
Good day.
Hearts.
Nobody tells good day.
20. Mohit, 30
Good
seconds.
day, good day, good day, good day.
Usmania.
Over.
Oh, done. Over.
Britannia. Over.
Okay,
Over.
done. We could recall 21 brands, right? Now, all the men on the link not allowed to speak. All the men on the link not allowed to speak. Only the ladies can speak. Mohit, again, 30 seconds on the timer. How many shaving cream brands can you guys recall? Yeah.
Gillette.
Gillette.
Cons.
Gillette.
Cons.
Garnier.
Gillette.
Beat.
Venus.
Okay. Don't Google, please.
No, sir, we're not Googling it.
Okay. Mohit, time up.
No, not now.
Okay, Bombay Shaving Company, fine.
Yeah, time up.
Okay, 7. Now, why do you think with biscuits, people were exploding with answers? Why do you think with shaving cream, very few answers were coming in?
Few options.
No.
Targeted audience.
Brand positioning.
Yeah. Targeting audience.
Interest.
I mean, do you see, I didn't let men come in, right? If I let men come in, maybe more would have come in. So now what happens is Jack Trout is the father of, this concept of positioning. He's the one who came up with this concept of positioning. He says there are brand ladders in your head. For every category, there are some brands you remember. The ladder is taller if you use those products more frequently. You know, I'm assuming a lot of you eat biscuits frequently. So you remember, or in childhood, you ate a lot of biscuits at least. So you remember a lot of brands of biscuits. But somebody who doesn't use shaving cream may not have a taller ladder of brands. On an average, a person remembers about 7 brands. But if you use that product frequently, you might know more brands. And also, it depends on how many brands operate in that space. Now, if you don't use that product, you may not know many brands in that space. Okay. Now, when I said which is the first brand which comes to your mind, some of you said Parle G. So those brands are on top of the ladder. Now, when you say biscuit, biscuit is general, right? Now, if I say which cream biscuit comes to your mind first?
Bourbon.
Bourbon.
Jim Jam.
Oreo.
Oreo.
Okay.
Bourbon.
If I ask which
Hide and seek.
which health biscuit comes to your mind first?
Patanjali.
Marigold.
Patanjali.
Marigold. Marigold, sir.
Right.
Nutrigold.
Okay. Now let's say this entire audience. Likes bourbon, right? Or let's say this entire audience likes bourbon, and I'm the brand manager of Marigold. If I try to compete with bourbon, I know I'm going to lose, right? So do I try to say I'm a better biscuit than bourbon? I'll become the villain.
No.
So what do I say?
Healthier.
Biscuit, anyone? I would just say health biscuit, anyone. Why am I calling myself a health biscuit?
Different position.
Exactly. I'm differentiating myself in your mind. Positioning is the art of differentiating your brand in your prospect's mind. And trust me, most MBAs do not understand what is positioning because they study MBA only for CTC. They don't love the subject. So, but this is what is brand positioning. Brand positioning is nothing but differentiating your brand in the prospect's mind. Now, when I write my content, let's say when I write content for any brand, I like to create something called brand dictionary. So for Deep Thought, again, we're creating a brand dictionary. That is, when I know this is the position I'm going to take in the market, I will define the words which I would like to use again and again and again. For example, Deep Thought uses the word transformation, lifelong learners, and all of that in the content again and again. When you use the same kind of words again and again, that helps you in occupying that position. For example, if you are the brand manager of Marigold and you want to position yourself as a health biscuit, you'd want to use a lot of words around health, right? Healthy life, longer life, let's say awareness about your food intake. You don't want to remind these ideas again and again. So that if you're sending 100 articles to your readers and they're reading 100 articles for the next 10 years, over 10 years, if your readers are reading 100 articles of yours, all those 100 articles have drilled these ideas in their brain. When you hear the word Cadbury's, what comes to your mind?
Chocolate.
Chocolate.
कुछ मीठा हो जाए.
Kuch meeta ho jaye, is what they say again and again, right? Because they do not want to be chocolate. What do they want to be?
Sweet.
Exactly. Why do they want to occupy the position of a sweet and not chocolate?
More number of use cases.
All the big occasions.
Larger audience.
Not just larger audience, but the larger market, right? Sweet in the Indian context, sweet is distributed when there's a big occasion. Like the latest ad you see, the politician's assistant's daughter clears an exam and he gives a chocolate to him.
Yes.
So sweet is meant for an occasion. So I want to capture that position. So if you're the Indian army head, there are some peaks in Kashmir which you want in your control because those are strategic positions, right? You want to have control over them. Likewise, if you're the brand head of Cadbury's, you'd want to control the word sweet. That when Indians think of sweet, you want Indians to remember Cadbury's. But you know, there are some brands, the brand is more popular than the category. Would anyone want to think of such a brand?
Bisleri.
Xerox.
Xerox. Surf.
Yeah, sir.
Maggie.
Maggie.
Colgate.
Yeah, we don't say I want noodles, right? I want Maggie.
Colgate.
There are cases where the brand is more popular than the category itself.
Colgate.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of such examples. And some brands try to own that category in a big way. Coca-Cola. You see what the brand is trying to do there? Cadbury's is trying to occupy sweet. What is Coca-Cola trying to occupy?
Cola.
No. They're not interested in just the positioning of cola. They want a bigger positioning. What is the slogan of Coca-Cola?
ठंडा मतलब कोका-कोला.
Thanda. Thanda matlab Coca-Cola. They're not interested in just the cola market or the beverages market. You want something cold, you want Coca-Cola. And if you look at Coke's brand positioning, Coke is wherever there is happiness. So if you're doing a college festival and you want Coke to sponsor, you call a good music band, they'll sponsor you. Coke always associates itself with music. So brand managers are very careful where they want to associate themselves. Some brands will always stay away from controversy because great brands are nurtured. Great brands are nurtured, right? I'm not going into details because this is not a workshop on brand positioning. But in case you guys are interested in learning that, I'm very happy to take a workshop because that's one of my favorite subjects, brand positioning. But great brands are nurtured. Now, as a content writer, does that become an important responsibility for you when I say great brands are nurtured? Because your article is also adding to that brand. How is that brand perceived by your audience? So you'd want to understand what position your brand is taking, and you'd want your content to be around the position that your brand is taking. Do I make sense? Okay, I have two more concepts left. One concept is brand positioning. The other concept which I have is value proposition. Right. Now, 1 minute. So in my teaser, I spoke of two concepts, brand positioning, yeah, value proposition. So we already discussed value proposition before. Now, but I will elaborate on it right now. Now, what is value proposition? How does this product or this brand or this organization make your life better? Let's ask a simple question. How does Swiggy make your life better?
They deliver the food onto our doorstep.
Okay, you don't have to travel to get the food. That is one. And
You get more options for
Uh,
food.
More options, need not travel, 2 points then.
They are
So
trustable.
time
They
limits
bring you can
Sorry?
have in your they bring food on time.
Okay. On time delivery, you need not travel. You get more options then.
They are trustworthy.
Discounts,
Discounts.
cashbacks.
Okay. They're trustworthy in the sense that if there's a problem with the food, you complain and they'll probably refund you and stuff.
Fresh food.
Sorry?
Fresh food.
You get fresh food from a restaurant also, no?
I don't have to cook.
Yeah, you don't have to cook, but that's the same value that a restaurant also gives you. But if you look at Swiggy's specific value proposition, they're making sure that you need not travel and you can, there are trustworthy option if you do not want to travel and you want to eat the food of your choice. That's the value proposition, right? Now, what's the value? Sorry?
Quicker delivery.
Yeah. Now, what's the value proposition of Uber?
Quick ride.
Sorry?
Standard pricing.
Quick
Quicker
ride,
connection.
quick trustworthy ride where you'll have to pay a pre-committed fare.
Standard fee.
Yeah, exactly. A pre-committed fare, right? It's not standard fee, na?
As in, like, there's no negotiation that you need to.
Exactly. That's what I meant by pre-committed. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Pre-committed fee without any negotiation. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Even the pre-committed fee could be negotiated. Fair enough. No negotiation again is a value. Yeah.
Safety.
Yeah. So all of these together becomes the value proposition that the product brings to the table, right? Now let's look at another product. Let's say Coursera. What is the value you get through Coursera?
Access to courses.
Knowledge.
Skills and knowledge.
Knowledge you get from books and from your college also.
Structured way
Yeah,
of
remote
Certification.
Virtual education.
Sorry?
Better interaction sessions.
Virtual education.
Virtual education, you've got Khan Academy, you've got a lot of people also. What is the unique value
financial aid.
Certification.
free kind of thing. Like it is a free education.
Easy learning.
Access to courses from institutions that you cannot normally get access to.
Exactly. Access to courses from the world's best institutions along with certification at your convenience. You need not commit to a specific time slot to do that course, right? Now, this is a value proposition. Now, every product, yeah, self-paced, that's value proposition. Every product has a certain value proposition. So it's very important to nail the value proposition. And now, I would like to take you through the last concept of today, a theory which we kind of came up with today, that I would like to categorize all value into 3 buckets: cosmetic value, aesthetic value, and utilitarian value. Cosmetic value, aesthetic value, utilitarian value. Cosmetic value as in the product makes you look good, right? Not just in the physical appearance, but let's say the product makes you appear cool. Let's say an Instagram profile makes you appear like a cool person to the world. So that's cosmetic value. And aesthetic value as in the product brings out a better version of you. The product makes you better. Over a period of time, the product is helping you become the best version of yourself. So that's what I would define aesthetic value. Utilitarian values, you get some use out of it, right? Some need of yours is met. So now let's, so into what buckets do you think Swiggy's value would go? Does Swiggy make you look good? Does it make you look cool or?
No.
Utilitarian.
Okay.
Utilitarian.
But does it make you get better with time?
No.
Very less, because they have those millets and organic food. They also have this fitness oriented diet and so on, but that's very less. So let's just say 1% aesthetic value and 99% utilitarian value. Now let's look at Netflix, because Ram asked that in the comments. Does Netflix make you look good? Look cool?
In a way, yes, because when you
Yes.
see the trending shows, you look cool in front of people, right?
Okay. No, but do you go and say that, hey, I'm watching Netflix, hey, I've got Netflix. So by saying that you watch Netflix, do you appear cool?
No, it's common right now, so no cool thing.
Okay, but maybe 5 years back or something, it was kind of cool for someone to go and say they've got Netflix.
Yeah.
It is cool. Yeah.
Even today, would you feel that your personal brand image would go up if you say you watch Netflix?
No.
No.
But maybe 5 years back, people would show off by saying, you know, I watch Netflix. So today, okay, there's no cosmetic value. There's utilitarian value. Do you have aesthetic value? Does it make you better over a period of time?
Depends on content
Very
you are
little,
watching.
right? Because there's some good shows. Okay. Now, let's look at Coursera. Does Coursera make you look cool?
No.
In your resume, if you say I did a course on Coursera, sort of you appear as a lifelong learner, right? Or you appear as a different person, not like an average Indian college student. You've taken the time and effort to do a course. So in a way, there's a little bit of a cosmetic value. There is utilitarian value. Does it make you better over a period of time?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because some good thought process is introduced to you. The professor there is telling you some good ideas and good thought process is introduced. It has aesthetic value. Now, let us say you're going to a good yoga program. Okay, I'm a little scared to use this because almost every popular yoga teacher has a different agenda, right? But let's say you're going to a good yoga program, a yoga guru who has no religious alliance and who doesn't run any business in India, no politics, no business. There's a person who just teaches yoga, right? Now, does it have cosmetic value? Does it make you look cool? Would you go and say, hey, I go to this yoga place every day? Maybe not. Does it have utilitarian value? Does it meet any of your needs? Yeah, if you're stressed or something, it will calm you down. Does it have aesthetic value?
Yes.
Yes.
So better over a period of time, right? Makes you composed, less impulsive, treat people with respect and all of that. Now,
yeah,
if you're communicating your brand idea to someone, when the person is, so there's something called top of the funnel, middle funnel, and bottom funnel. Top of the funnel is a lot of people are hearing your brand message. You send your brand message to 1 lakh people, maybe only 10,000 people are interested. They wait for more content. 10,000 people read the content and maybe only 100 buy your product. So the 1 lakh is what stage of the funnel?
Top funnel.
Top of the funnel. So a lot of people are there. 10,000?
The middle funnel.
Yes, some filtration has happened. The 100?
That's the bottom funnel.
The filtration is already over. So top, middle, bottom. Now, when you're writing the top of the funnel content, that is new people are hearing your brand story. Would you use cosmetic content there? So, sorry, would you use aesthetic content there? Would you say, hey, I'm like the Tatas, I'm a values-driven brand. I'm here to make the world a better place to live in.
No.
Why?
Because even like they will ask me like if you are good, why I didn't hear about you.
So there is one fundamental principle that Jack Trout talks of. You never go and say that I'm a #1 brand. If you were a #1 brand, I would have heard of you earlier. You let the audience decide whether you're a #1 brand. Now, again, my personal theory or my personal experience has been that at the top of the funnel, when you use aesthetic value props in your content, it backfires because people are not willing to trust you. They don't know who you are. Like, let's say Deep Thought goes and talks to a candidate and says, we are here to produce lifelong learners. Unfortunately, learning is a word which is used by a lot of fraud companies online these days. So people, look at you with doubt. So that's when I've understood that you do not use aesthetic value prop at the top of your funnel. You probably use it in the bottom funnel or mid funnel. But what if you use cosmetic value prop? Let's say I'm talking to students and I say, this developer is a lifelong learner. This developer is able to work on various projects and produces high quality code. People may not relate. But if I say this developer works on 12 different technology stacks and can produce a 6-screen applications backend in just 3 hours. This developer uses a very different approach to programming, and that's why this developer is so fast and can work on very different platforms. What happens? People want to know why, because this is cool. Cosmetic value proposition can be fantastic for entry stage funnel, right? That is the top of the funnel. And utilitarian value prop also can be nice, because if people are badly waiting for that, right? For example, hungry ho kya, Snickers, right? So something like that can be useful, because if people are hungry, they will want to know about it and buy it immediately. So utilitarian hooks or cosmetic hooks can be great for the top of the funnel. So it's important to understand what stage of the funnel you're in, and it's important to format your content based on the stage of the funnel. Based on the funnel, based on the channel, your content can be formatted, and based on your brand positioning. So these are some of the concepts. If you're aware of these concepts and you implement these concepts in your content can be very, very compelling for people to read and take action, right? So these are some concepts which I wanted to introduce to you all in this workshop. I'd love to take a few questions and conclude. Yeah, please go ahead with your question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
At what stage we can use aesthetic value at the top of the funnel?
So I am of the belief that at the top of the funnel, it could horribly backfire. Maybe bottom funnel, you're probably safe, but maybe mid funnel, you can experiment. And in some cases, maybe you don't want to do it in the bottom funnel also. Maybe in some cases, you want to bring it after the sale is done. Yeah, Anuraj.
Why it backfires?
Because when you're trying to tell that you are a different person, you're values driven and so on, not everyone may believe you. And also not everyone may care about it. See, if you're using that in an economy like India, it may backfire. But you use in a mature economy like US, it might work. Because see, if I say that I'm an eco-friendly brand, how many people in India would care about it?
Of course.
But in a more mature economy like US or Europe, maybe people care about the environment, some of them. There's a significant section of audience which cares. So there, it might work at the top of the funnel.
I think being eco-friendly in US and UK is cool. It's cosmetic there.
Maybe, but also you have a lot of people who don't see it's something like this, Anuraj. In a developing economy, a lot of people are thinking of their survival. But in an
Can we change?
Let me quickly complete. What I'm saying is, in an economy which is focused on survival, people are looking at their individual needs. In an economy where people's survival is taken care of, people are worried about the society and the larger interest.
Yes.
So if you're operating in a market where people do not worry about the larger things, it's like if you go based on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So this value prop is at the level of transcendence. So if you're conveying a value prop at the level of transcendence, people may not relate to it. It depends on what stage of needs the user is in. If as per Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if the user is in level 1, level 2 needs, you'd want your value prop also to be centered somewhere around level 1, level 2 needs. So again, I would encourage all of you to read Maslow's hierarchy of needs. That can be a great guiding light in terms of empathizing with your users and having your value prop around what stage your user is in. How do you know what they are in? Well, you've got to do your market research, right, Tushar? You've got to know your users quite intimately.
Can we, one more question. Over a period of time, like through education, can we change aesthetic values to cosmetic values?
So when you're trying to bring that mindset shift, Anuraj, mindset shift is very, very capital intensive. You want to change people's mindset, it costs a lot of money. It may take a lot of time. It may take a lot of campaigns. It might take a big brand ambassador. So
that's why there is a category like
as a growth hacker, I would not want to do that because it's too capital intensive. Rather, I would want to take a different position, which is more viable, occupy a position which sells immediately. And once the customer comes, slowly try to change them. But in my sales funnel, I wouldn't want to do that. Next question, anyone? Yeah, Deepti.
How do you know what part of the funnel you are in?
You define your funnel, right? You define at the top of the funnel, what do you want people to do? Do you want people to fill a lead form where they do an inquiry? Middle funnel, you might want them to read some article or do some activity. Bottom funnel, you might want them to buy your product. So you define what actions you want your customers to take. That's how, when you define your funnel, you understand which stage you're in. Your CTS help you. Top funnel, you put a CTA, please fill this form to get the details. Middle funnel, you say, please click this link to know more. Bottom funnel, you say limited time offer, buy today to get this offer, buy today to get this, and so on. So you put your CTS, and as people click the CTS and go to the next stage, you know they're progressing across the funnel. Funnels are important because funnels help the users understand your brand step by step. Again, it's a different workshop in itself over what are funnels, why we use funnels in marketing and so on. Today's discussion was around content, so I focused on content, but yes, funnels are a very fundamental concept to understand. Yeah, Dinesh.
Yes. How do we use these funnels on social media platforms? Like, let's say when we are sending out a post, which is not of aesthetic value at the top funnel, right? But then we.
So Dinesh,
Yeah.
when you're sending your social media content, I wouldn't classify that content as funnel content. Funnel content usually is inorganic, as in you put a budget and you run ads. Social media content is more like there are people who are already following you for whatever reason. So you're engaging with them. I would usually consider that to be brand content. So if those are people who are already following you for some time, and if you know that it's a repeat audience which is coming back, then maybe aesthetic content could be useful. But if you know that you're picking up a lot of new audience who do not know much about you, then probably I will try not to use that aesthetic content then. Again, it depends on the nature of audience who are following you on your social media page. Did I answer your question, Dinesh?
Yes.
But I would look at funnel content separately and brand content separately. I would look at the social media content to be brand content. Something which you're sending again and again to create that brand image.
Okay, I think so. Does that mean like our followers are already inside our funnel?
Maybe, may not be is what I'm saying. It depends on who your followers are. For example, if you look at Deep Thought's LinkedIn followers, probably you have a lot of top of the funnel guys also there who've not engaged enough with Deep Thought. But on Instagram, we have a lot of bottom funnel guys. We hardly have anyone there. So if you look at WhatsApp, we have a lot of bottom of funnel people on WhatsApp who spent enough time because they've been nurtured over a period of time. So again, it depends. You've got to know your followers to understand that. Did I answer your question, Dinesh?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, over to you, Amrit.
Yeah, I have a question. Okay, let's say in biscuit there are a lot of position you can like make in Ayurveda, in health, in tasty, salty, sweet. But let's say you are having a saving company, right? Then how you will, without competing, you will create a new position, because it's really hard to create like in such such industries.
Food shave, economical shave,
Premium.
right? So different positions you can take there as well. The type of shaving, the adjective, right? The adjective defines what quality you're giving there.
So
there are
is
always
it,
different positions you can take.
so is it possible to create a new position and create a new audience?
Absolutely, but it can be very tricky, and at times you might burn a lot of capital. So you want to do it carefully. But yes, most new brands who come in, most successful new brands who come in, they end up creating a new position because it's very difficult to compete with somebody who's already occupied one position. But you'd want to make sure that your position is very close to the other positions. Because if your position is too far away, that position may not have a market at all. Please understand one thing, creating a new market is very capital intensive and might take a lot of time. Now we are going away from content, we're going more into strategy, which I don't mind discussing, but yes, yeah, we will probably be all over the place.
Got it.
Because this question is more of business strategy, right? What position do I occupy? What if my position is far away from the existing positions? Is it okay if I create a new market? That's more of a strategy question.
So basically, we can say just like boat did with the right now this market, like economic.
I would try not to have that in today's workshop. We definitely have one workshop on strategy sometime soon, so we could take it there. Yeah, I'd like to conclude this workshop with reflections. Again, as I said, one of my rituals is to start by asking people what their expectations are, and another ritual of mine is to ask a few people to share what were your thoughts and feelings during the workshop, and maybe what your takeaways are. So, who wants to go in with a reflection? Anyone? Okay, I missed my CTA. So I introduced you to 4 different concepts today. The first concept was the 3 stages: value proposition, where you know what your product gives as a benefit to the users. Then you move to the story, and then you move to channel specific expression. The second concept was, even though according to channels, the content can change, there are some fundamentals which do not change: hook, problem, solution, impact, and then call to action. Then we discussed what is brand positioning. Then after that, we discussed, 3 different categorization of, value proposition. We discussed value proposition in detail. So this is what we got today. And if you can utilize all these concepts in your writing, at least some of them, you'll probably be able to write content which is anchored around your business. You'll be able to produce content which achieves your, business agenda. So we've discussed various concepts. Even Maslow's hierarchy of needs came in a little bit. It might appear overwhelming, but trust me, it's not a lot of it. If you spend 3 to 4 days, I think you could pick up these concepts, and with more practice over a month or 2, you'll be able to implement this into your writing if you're consciously trying to implement them. And one nice way to internalize this is to reflect. So I would encourage you guys to reflect so you could, internalize these concepts faster. So yeah, who wants to go in with a reflection?
I would like to go first.
Okay. Please raise your hand if you want to go in with a reflection. Okay, we have one person. Who else wants to go in? Mohan wants to go in. Who else wants to go in? Okay, Tushar wants to go in. Thank you, Tushar. We have 3 more seats. Who wants to go in with a reflection? Okay, thank you, Arpit. We have 2 more seats. Okay, thank you, Nishant. 2 more seats. Who wants to go in with a reflection? Okay, thank you, Devmita. 1 more seat. Who wants to go in with a reflection? You can raise your hand if you want to go in with a reflection. Who wants to go in with a reflection? A great way to internalize what you learned today is to reflect, right? What were your thoughts and feelings during the workshop, and what were your takeaways is what you can capture in your reflection. Who wants to go in with a reflection? Okay, I'll count up to 3 if anyone wants to go in. 2, 1. Okay, thank you, Deepthi. Yeah, over to you, Tushar.
Thank you. So two things that I would like to reflect upon is, first of all, the structure that we got: the hook, problem, solution, and then the call to action. So oftentimes we as well, sorry.
Problem, solution, impact, and then call to action.
Yes. Okay, got it. So oftentimes what happens is, like, we do as well send a lot of messages for the drills and stuff that we conduct, but it lacks that hook, right? Because of which people do not tend to join in. They do not tend to see the value in the drills sometimes. So I think if you can change the structure, adopt the structure to send content out for those drills, it may get people to engage more. Other than that, I loved how this idea got connected to the Maslow's hierarchy. So we may want to understand the people whom we are targeting, and if we look into it, maybe Bloom's taxonomy and other stuff can also be connected, wherein we deliver the value to those, like, articulate the value in such a way that for each of those individual and different levels, it makes sense to them, and they can come and get those value that they want. So yeah, thank you for that workshop.
Yeah. Thank you, Tushar. Over to you, Mohan.
Yes, the session was useful with in 3 notes: value proposition, storytelling, and channel specific expression. While coming to value proposition, we are classifying the business brand into three, that is cosmetic, aesthetic, utilitarian. Cosmetic is making you cool and showing you in higher place to the public. Then aesthetic, changing you to the next level. Then utilitarian, it's your need and use of that brand in your life. Then while coming to storytelling, it's like a testimonials give how people uh, are used, how people are benefiting by using our product. Then it's brand positioning. It was very interesting, interactive sessions. There were a lot of biscuit brands I learned today as well. Then differentiating our brand in prospects brain. That's good. Then I learned a new framework from you, Tarun, that is the try one: hooks, problem, solution, impact, and call to action. Yes, it was useful session. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mohan. Over to you, Nishant.
Yeah, so this was my first workshop and I learned quite a new things when it comes to business and how to write the content and how to attract the people so that your business grows and you also gain some you also gain your popularity or the thing you are trying to achieve. And apart from that, I could learn how the funnel works and like how the top funnel, like how the audience are there in the above funnel and the middle funnel and the lower funnel. And you can arrange the things according to the funnels which you have created. And apart from that, they are cosmetic, aesthetic, and utilitarian value. And I got to know many things about it, about the three values. And it is overall a great session for me since I'm a newbie to this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Nishant. Over to you, Devmita.
Yes, I will reflect on the main part which I have I got to introduce today. That most of the time we are creating content in one line, and it is like takes we are hooking to grab their attention only. And I mean, most of the time we are just like SMS marketing or something like that. We are only writing one line content just to hook the audience on an initial way, and after that we are only coming up with the like how we are driving our audience to the next step. So this part, it was a really mystery, like I have never thought about like how we are doing it. And most of the time people do so much stunt over it, but I got to know about the process, like how we can plan over here and how we can come up with more strategies, like how we are hooking and how we are driving our audience to the call to action button. So there is a huge thing to plan and work on, which was my takeaway from this, like most important takeaway from this workshop. And thank you for that. And also my reflection will be, also I'm looking forward for the brand positioning workshop. If you are taking, please, I would like to join. So sure. Yes, this much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tarun.
Over to you, Deepti.
I have been struggling to figure out a way of, how do I represent a brand in my content? And through this workshop, I got a framework of how to do it. So I think I'm going to implement this. Understanding this is going to take a lot more reflection than this 5-minute reflection. So I'll reflect on one new thing that I learned just now. It is CTA. I thought CTA was something that you use to generate leads before this workshop. Now I understood it is to tell your customers that they received some value from reading your content. So that gave me a different perspective of looking at it, and I like that. Thank you.
Yeah. So you want your customer to take that action because you want your customer to win. So there can be a very transactional way you look at your CTA, and there can be a transformational way of looking at your CTA. So you can say, I want my customer to click the link so that I get a lead. Or you can say, I want my customer to click the link so that I can help my customer. so that my customer can eat healthy food. If you're a food startup and you're selling good food, you're saying, I want my customer to click the link so that I can serve some good food to my customer. So there can be a more transformational way of looking at it. Right. Thanks a lot, everybody, for attending. Hope you've got some good pointers to work on your content, and do let me know if you do try some of these principles. Let me know how that pans out. Thank you, everyone. This concludes the session.